and that's got to be the Miami Dolphins. So, with that, this is the DCTV 4-H Evening News Program for October 29th, 2019. We have two camera people today. We have Tanner and Brandt. Video and sound engineer and producer Lynn. Teleprompter and prompter Myra. News anchors are Aubrey and Hannah. Meteorologist is Nolan. And this is your news director, Dan. And now the news.
TV 4-H Kids Evening News Show. Help us keep our news show on the air by buying a sponsorship, by becoming a sponsor. You can buy a sponsorship by calling 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Now for the news. Hi, I'm Aubrey, and our first story is from the Durango Herald. For weather safety aboard, don't rely on your water standards vary around the world. About 71% of the global population uses a safety managed drinking water service. According to the World Health Organization, but 785 million people lack clean drinking water, and at least 2 billion people rely on drinking water service contaminated with feces. But finding out whether the water is portable at your destination might be difficult, and most tap water looks fine to drink. So travelers have developed strategies to cope with uncertainty. How can you determine whether the water is safe to drink? Even Lord Landino, a business development consultant who lives in Tanzania, says that you should look around at a traffic shop. If the street vendors are selling bottled water to the tourists, I can't say that one. There's probably an issue with the drinking water. Also, look at the menus at restaurants, he says. If there's a mention of ice made from bottled water, then you know that it is an issue. Of course, there are more scientific ways of determining whether the water is safe to drink. For example, you can buy a drinking water test kit like the First Alert, about $17, which identifies bacteria, lead, pesticides, nitrates, and nitrites, and chlorine in the water. But mostly commercially available test kits don't cover every contaminant. Drinkable water should be cleared, odorless, and it should feel yucky on your hands after washing. And it shouldn't feel yucky on your hands after washing them with soap, says Nicola Dejorovic, a physician who co-founded the company MedAlertHelp.org, a medical alert service. When you're traveling, use extreme caution, he says. Even water that is considered safe to drink may contain microorganisms that might disagree with travelers accustomed to the water distributed in their community. In other words, you can get the green light to drink the water and still get sick. So what to do? Experts say you should err on the side of caution. If you're traveling outside the safe zones, assume the water is undrinkable. Consume only bottled water, which is generally manufactured under sanitary conditions. Brush your teeth using bottled water too.
Aldo Leopold was a fascinating cat. He took the time to look at things and reflect. A descendant of German immigrants, Leopold grew up roaming in Iowa woods, and in time was graduated from the new Yale School of Forestry, which had been established with a donation from Gifford Pinochet, the first chief of the U.S. Forest Service who was appointed by a fellow conservationalist, President Theodore Roosevelt. They were the first of the generation of American conservationalists. When Leopold graduated, he quite naturally went into the Forest Service. After field service, then teaching, he put his ideas to work in 80 barren acres in the Sand County of Baraboo, Wisconsin, helping the land heal from logging and overgrazing. In 1949, Leopold published his great work, The Slender Collection of a Sand County Almanac. The Sand County is a quiet call to arms to defend the land and nature from unthinking man. The foundation annually gives the Leopold Conservation Award to landowners in 15 states, including Colorado. Last year, the Colorado Award went to the Livingston Ranch in Stratton on the Eastern Plains, where the Livingston family runs beef cattle and grows wheat, milo, corn, and hay while conserving water and letting grasses recover. In 2018, it went to the Beatty Canyon Ranch in Kim, east of Trinidad, where the Wooten family grazes a herd of Red Angus cattle and makes agriculture compatible with preserving the shortgrass prairie. Conservation, a Leopold once said, will ultimately boil down to
for the seasons. Last winter's deep snow may have stalled Silverton summer, but as the last train from Durango rolled into the old mining town Saturday, it was easy for many to say 2019 has been first rate. I think we had a banging year. It was busy, but not too busy, said Natalie Horn, an employee at Avalanche Brewing. This year compared to last was way more consistent. Miss French, a manager at the Grand Imperial Hotel, said many guests told her they had canceled plans in 2018 and rescheduled for this year. But a deep snow year left much of the back country, including the Alpine Loop, inaccessible for months. The closures have forced visitors into new areas around Silverton, Horn said. But high moisture also led to lush alpine environment from late summer until early fall, French said. The wildflower season this year was really good, she said, and the fall colors lasted much longer into October than they did in 2018. Al Harper, owner of the Durango and Silverton Narrow Garage Railroad, said 2019 season is comparable with 2017, which was a traffic year, he said, and people are still eager to ride. People already bought about 40% of the tickets for the company's Polar Express train this winter. The economy has been good, general public attitude good. We're feeling good about things, Harper said. We're in a positive time now. Believe me when I tell you we're a town of 600 service industry workers, and by the time the train stops, we all need a break, Horn said. We kind of get our community back.
This story is from the internet. Here are some dumb criminal stories from the internet. It's the worst possible time to faint in the middle of robbing a bank, but that's what happened to Beaver Creek, Ohio thief. The teller called 911 and asked for medics, but you have to applaud the man's stick-to-it Venices? While the ambulance was en route, the suspect handed a note to the teller demanding all her cash. The victim's jewelry was missing, the electronics were gone, and a window was smashed. No wonder she was hysterical when the officer, Chair Chinjit Marinhu of the Calgary police arrived. Then her French-speaking father called. Speaking in French, she explained that it was all a scam in order to get the insurance money. When she didn't suspect that Officer Minmir, who speaks 6 languages, including French, uses who landed in jail. Don't you hate it when you suffer a heart attack and think you're going to die, so you confess to a 17-year-old murderer only to find out that you're not going to die and then get sentenced to life in prison as a result? Yeah, so does James Washington of Nashville, because it happened to him. Now for our weather report with Nolan.
Our current weather data
That was
comes
odd.
from DCTV weather station located in downtown Denver. The current temperature is 42 degrees. Today's high was also 43 degrees. The low was 28 degrees. The barometer is at 259.69 inches and falling. Humidity is at 26%. Wind is between 1 and 9 miles per hour from the southwest. Gusts has been up to 27 miles per hour. There is 0.107 inch of moisture measured by the DCTV weather station today. Moisture for this month is 1/100 of an inch. Moisture accumulation for the year is 10.24 inches. Now, from the National Weather Service, here is the big map. Most of the Pacific Northwest is clear except for the following. Here. Snowing. It's snowing in Idaho and Utah, then east into Kansas and Iowa. Where the snow stops, rain begins in New Mexico, broadens out to travel northeast and in Michigan. So it's like this area, but not quite there. Back to New Mexico, where mixed precipitation begins, where the rain starts and covers from Texas north into Ohio and east into the end in the Virginias and North Carolina and Florida. From Virginia into Maine, there is some small area of air in those large area, and the green parts are colored parts in Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and from Boston south into Maryland. Now for exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast. This way. Wednesday is mostly sunny with a high of 26 and a low of 9. Thursday is sunny with a high of 40 and a low of 16. Friday is also sunny with a high of 45 and low of 20. Saturday is sunny with a high of 49 and low of 23. Sunday, once again, sunny, sadly, with a high of 53 and a low of 25. Now for our climate change report. CO2, carbon dioxide, is considered a greenhouse gas and is one of the principal causes of climate change. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, which causes climate instability. The results are significant variations worldwide of hot and cold temperatures. But the general climate trend is that the planet is slowly warming. Therefore, it is important that we report the CO2 change. The following are CO2 numbers in parts per million. Last week was 408.78. 2 weeks ago was 408.62. Last year was 406.61. 10 years ago was 384.74. 50 years ago was 322.85. Thanks to Dr. Peter Tanz of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, and to Michael McGee of the CO2.Earth Network for providing this information. Remember, you can help keep our kids' news on air by buying a sponsorship. To become a sponsor, just call 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Now back to our news director, Hannah.
And that's the end of today's DCTV 4-H Evening News Show. This is your news director, Dan, saying good night and thank you for watching.